Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Show It Live here on showit2.com. I'm Field Denny. This is my amazing co-host Elizabeth Langford.
Hey guys, welcome to Tuesday. We're so excited to be back here live with you on Show It Live, and we have an amazing show today.
Yes.
We've got a couple of great guests actually that are going to be joining us. And the first person that we are going to talk to, we just absolutely love and adore her. It's Jamie Delane up north in Canada.
We have two Canadians today.
Two Canadians.
Canadians.
We love the Canadians.
So much Canada.
So much Canada. But Jamie is going to be joining us today to talk just a little bit about the school sessions and giving us an update. The school sessions is a wonderful cause that we have partnered with and are helping to sort of get going. They are doing amazing things. They're trying to build a school in Haiti, the ECA school.
Well, let's bring her on.
Let's do that.
And
Jamie, good morning.
Good
Thanks
morning.
for joining us. We're so
Hi,
excited
thanks for
you're here. There you are. You're coming up on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
What's the weather like today in Canada? I always assume it's cold in Canada.
No, well, okay, Vancouver and Victoria, where Kelsey's from. I saw she's on today, so she's only a couple hours away from me. It's kind of like the same climate. So the rest of Canada is probably cold right now. I don't know. We don't really stay in touch with them over here on the West Coast. So today I'd say it's like going to be probably a high of 60 and it's sunny.
Nice. That's good. So spring has sprung.
Absolutely. Yep.
That's awesome. Well, give us an update. How are the school sessions going?
It's going so well. Well, it's March 31st now, and so the deadline is April 12th. So we have, 12, 11, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
11 and a half days left. And we're so excited. We have over 500 photographers signed up.
Oh.
We have 17 countries reached now, which is so cool to see that it's going even outside of North America.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, we're really excited.
Very, very cool. And so the big date, right, is April 12th.
Yes.
Coming up quickly. And tell us a little bit about the giveaway that's happening today on Instagram.
Yes, well, we have partnered with Show It yourselves and also Lucas and Susie Van Dyke with Chasing Lockets in Los Angeles. And they're hosting a giveaway in partnership with Show It, 3 lockets we're giving away on the School Sessions Instagram. So if you'd love to win those lockets, they are beautiful. I saw them in person. I love them. They have a special edition one that has our kind of catchphrase or motto, let us never grow weary of doing good. That's on the front of the lockets, and they're giving away 3 of them through our Instagram account. So you can go to @theschoolsessions on Instagram, and if you like that photo, follow the School Sessions and tag 2 of your photographer friends below. You could be entered to win, and we'll be drawing tomorrow at noon Pacific Standard Time. And the best part is not only do you win, but if your name's chosen, the 2 friends that you tagged win.
Oh, that's so awesome.
There
We
it
love
is.
that.
Yeah, that's the best. Thank you so much for doing that and being a part of that. And,
Yeah. We're excited to get these lockets into the hands of you lovely ladies or gentlemen. Gentlemen, you can enter and pass them along to the ladies in your life. We've got one right here, and so we'll ship those out to you and to your 2 friends. So we'll need to get some addresses from the winners.
Are you saying that us guys can't wear them?
You absolutely can wear them. You could do it like kind of like a pocket watch sort of situation, right? You could. I don't even think I don't think it fits over his head. It did.
Yeah,
and it matches what you're wearing.
It does. It does. I may just rock this all day.
I think you should.
Yeah.
I think you should. We'll do anything to support the school sessions. We think it's just a fantastic cause, Jamie, and we are so proud of you for going out there and doing good in the world and sharing your talents and getting other photographers involved by sharing theirs. That's awesome.
Thank you. We're so excited.
Oh, very cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us all the way from Canada today.
You're welcome.
Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Yes, say hi to Kelsey for me.
We will.
Say hi to Randy for us.
All right.
Okay, I will.
Bye, Jamie.
Bye, Jamie.
Bye.
Oh, I love her. She's awesome.
She's fantastic.
We have so many great showiteers that are out there doing just fantastic things in the world. You're not going to take that off, are you?
I think I might.
Oh, okay.
I think I might.
You're just not feeling it?
I didn't wear my proper attire to wear a necklace today.
Okay, well, that's okay. So
I don't wear necklaces, so I may not be able to take
not
this off.
very often. You might be stuck with it. That's okay. Take it home for Carrie.
Right, for sure.
That's very good.
Well, one of the other things we wanted to do today, we have a featured site.
We do.
Yeah. So, and this is actually one of our 12 days of Show It Christmas winners, which is really
so
exciting. And yeah, they got their site and their blog and everything up with with Show It, and so we wanted to show it off.
This is Eric and Jamie. They are a husband and wife team. They are from Birmingham, Alabama.
Ooh.
So back south of here. I guess that would be down south, east of here. My geography is not great, but Eric and Jamie have a fantastic site that they've put together. I like how when you come in to their splash page, you can choose between their site and their blog. And we just wanted to show you a little bit of their site. We love how clean it is, how much the pictures stand out. And one of our favorite parts of this site was the image gallery, where you can come in and you can choose between the weddings and engagements and then slide through, and it will rotate, I believe, on its own, but they also put some arrows on the edges. And I think that's really cool, so that if someone is just hyper fast and they want to move through it, that might be someone like me, would just be like,
and I love the first image in the wedding gallery here with the shoes and everything. So yeah, I think it's really well done. And great job, Eric and Jamie.
It's a fantastic site. And I think one of the things that they did really well is mixing of their fonts, yet keeping it really simple. So there was a lot of design thought that went into this.
And I am not a designer, but I hear that's one of the more difficult things to do for designers, is being able to mix fonts and make sure it's all cohesive and all fits the brand and all of that. Font
mixing can be tough. We should get a designer on, one of our Show It design partners, to talk about
just to mix fonts. Do they do it like DJs?
I don't think they do it like DJs. But Eric and Jamie, we absolutely love your site, and Show Tears, go and check it out. It's ericandjamiephoto.com, and give them some love on the Show It Facebook group, and let them know how much you love their site, because we absolutely adore it. We think it's great.
Yeah, it really is great. And speaking of great, our next guest, once again, another Canadian. She's from the very west side. I think it's like the furthest west island.
Does she live on Victoria?
We'll have to ask her. I don't know what it's called, but everybody, welcome Kelsey Goodwin. K Good Photos. How are you today?
Hi, Kelsey.
How are you?
Oh, we're so good, so good. Today's an awesome day. So where you're like the furthest west in Canada you can go, right? Or furthest west island? Yeah.
It's you go to Vancouver, which is where Jamie is, and then you keep going over the ocean to reach Vancouver Island, and that's where I am.
Right before China.
Yeah, you keep going, you'll definitely hit China eventually.
Yeah,
eventually. I think it's quite a ways.
That's the way West works.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today. It looks like spring is definitely sprung where you are. Everyone's wearing their florals, and the sun is streaming in, which is really, really exciting. I saw a couple Show Tears post snow today.
Really?
We're back in like Michigan and the East Coast. And so I think everyone who's enjoying the summer or the spring air is happy.
So Kelsey, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What do you shoot? What's your passion?
Well, my name is Kelsey Goodwin.
Good to know.
You know where I live now, Vancouver Island. And I shoot primarily weddings and portraits. But I also shoot about 50 to 60%, depending on the season, of commercial. So I do it all. And I guess that makes me a generalist photographer, which I know kind of has a bad taste in people's mouths. But for me,
how dare you?
I know. I just enjoy it all. You know, I think it's really great to diversify your skills, bring in additional income, and anything that will allow me to express myself. And you still get to pick and choose your clients as well. So yeah, I shoot it all, but primarily weddings in the summer, and then in the off season I'll shoot commercial. Boudoir is a big one of my portrait sessions. It's all good. So yeah, and I do video as well. I dabble in that, but I'm still learning because that's a beast.
That is a beast. If video, like taking video, not that hard. Editing the video and making it look good and cohesive and all that, I leave that to the professionals. That's so. I got to chat with you yesterday, and I saw this amazing background here in your house. Tell us about this, because it looks absolutely beautiful.
Well, this actually is a picture that I took in my backyard. I don't know if you can see that. It's a 17-foot by 9-foot wall in my living room, and I actually got it printed from a Vancouver small business called Anewall, ANEWALL.com. It wasn't even that expensive. It was, $500. They print your photo on wallpaper, and then you just hire some local professionals to hang it for you. So I'm really stoked on how it turned out. I got some in my office as well.
Yeah, it looks absolutely gorgeous.
That is really cool.
It is really cool.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing?
Because this is like where I live as well. Like I can look, if I'm tired of looking at my mural here, I can just look in, you know, out my window in the back, and there it is. On a foggy day, it's pretty cool.
That's crazy. Out my window, there's usually a wet dog who jumped in the pool.
Right.
And she caught a bird. That's happening frequently now.
That's
It
epic.
looks nothing like that.
No.
And then there's a brick wall.
Oh, there you go.
I really like that idea. That's fun. So
Yeah.
Kelsey, tell us how you got into commercial photography, because I bet that there are a lot of people that are joining us today watching the show and they're interested. How do you even start? You know, I'm a wedding photographer, but I want to shoot commercial. How does that happen?
Well, I've been in business for about 5 years full time now. And when I first started, I was 21. And long story short, I did a Groupon for boudoir shoots. And with the Groupon, that's a whole nother story, but it got my name out there a little bit.
Yeah.
And shortly after that, a local ad agency contacted me and they said, hey, like, we'd love to have you come into our agency for an interview because we really like your work and your work looks really commercial. So I walked in and, you know, I'm all like freaked out, like, oh, this is so like out of my depth. I'm not, you know, I don't know anything about shooting commercial or anything. I never pictured myself as a commercial photographer.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of thought that it was boring or that I didn't know enough about lighting or anything like that. Anyway, so I walk in there and they have my photos projected on their wall with like a local mall's campaign slogan over top of it. So they were using my photos to like mock up ads. And they were like, yeah, your photos, they look really commercial and stylized, and they've got that quality. And I was like, they do? And I was like, they do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. And
That's how I shot them.
that was very intentional.
That's just how Kelsey rolls.
Right.
You talked about yourself in the third person because you should, if you don't already.
Yeah. So from then on, they're like, yeah, your work looks really stylized and commercial-like. So I was like, oh, is that all it takes, is just shooting how I'm shooting? And then maybe that might appeal to other clients that I didn't really consider.
Yeah.
So I started shooting for a local mall.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, other malls started contacting me. And so the mall thing has really been a little bit of a niche market for me because fashion is my favorite thing to photograph. And even though the malls aren't super fashion forward, like it's not always like shooting for Vogue.
Right.
It's more catalog-y, but at the same time, it's still a way to make money doing fashion locally where I am. Not to mention these malls will come back to you every season, every quarter. I can depend on them calling me up and being like, hey, you know, what do you think for the spring campaign? Or, you know, we're thinking of this for summer. So it's a really great, like, dependable income that's super fun to photograph.
Yeah.
And, you know, you work with stylists and makeup artists and the whole team, which is another beast altogether. But
Right.
so that's kind of how I got into commercial, and it's been really fun for me so far.
Yeah, that sounds really neat. And you sort of get to be like the director of photography in that situation, and you're not the wedding planner and, you know, falling into the other roles. You really get to focus on just shooting when you shoot commercial, it sounds like.
Yeah, there's a lot of other things to focus on as well, because what I didn't really know of before I started commercial is I got dropped right into this middle of this commercial shoot, and there was like 14 people on set. So, and everyone has a job to do, right? There's the wardrobe stylist. Maybe you have 1 or 2 makeup artists on set, depending how many models you want. There's 1 to 6 models, depending. And then you have the art director from the ad agency. Then you have the marketing director from the client's agency. And sometimes you even have the client there. And then you've got their assistants. It's crazy. So that really overwhelmed me initially because I wasn't used to having people look over my shoulder at what I was shooting all the time. So that's kind of what the art director does. Is they'll look at what you're shooting, and oftentimes you'll shoot tethered. So for those of you who aren't familiar with shooting tethered, that's when you are wirelessly or via USB or HDMI plugged into your Capture One software or Lightroom or whatever you're using. So that way everyone in the room can see what you're shooting as soon as you shoot it.
That's perfect.
It can be a little intimidating for people if you're not used to that.
Oh.
That could give you some butterflies in the stomach.
Especially because, like, I've taken photos and you get the half blink where they look drunk, and then you get like, not every photo I take is beautiful. That may be different for others.
Right.
But so, yeah, that would be slightly intimidating to take a picture and everybody be like, oh my God, why'd you take a picture of that?
Now, have you gotten to the point where you're past that, or does it still sort of give you the flurries?
Well, initially, I wasn't sure if I liked it because people were like, well, why don't you shoot it like that? Or maybe try this angle. And, you know, you kind of know that that's not going to be a good angle, but you have to do it anyway because you want to make sure everyone, you know, kind of feels like they have on shoot. I mean, they all do, but
Yeah.
it totally depends which art director you're working with and how well they know how you work. So initially it can be a little bit of a learning curve for everybody involved to see how everybody works, and you kind of build that trust on those relationships, and then you can do it. But it's great to have an art director on set regardless, because at the end of the day, if you don't like the photo, then, you know, but it depends. Because if you have the art director on set, then you have someone to say, I've okayed this image, the client's okayed this image. You know, it doesn't come down to the photographer as much in that case. You'll have people to back you up on your work, which, you know, is not a scary thing whatsoever, but it's just always great to have as much direction as possible on shoots like this, you know, because there are so many people involved and it is so costly to reshoot it if possible.
Right.
But also what I found when I first started was, because all these people were on shoot and, you know, these guys, they know exactly what they want, a shoot that would normally take me like 5 minutes to shoot, or 5 seconds even, would end up being like a 4-hour long process, because they'd have to be like, okay, you know, here people have to come in and like fix that little flyaway, and, you know, the purse needs to be showcased more. It's all about the product, right?
Yeah.
So they'll go in and they'll tweak the crap out of it. And you'll take like 50 shots of like the same image, but there's like little adjustments and different things. So that was something I wasn't used to at first either.
Sure.
But, you know, you get used to it, and, you know, you get paid by the hour or by the commission, depending on how you quote it. So it's solid money. And, you know, especially when you have all the help on board, it's actually way easier to shoot than a wedding.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, it sounds glorious. It really does. I'm sure there are some downs to it, but it really does sound good. So you came to us with like 5 steps, right? 5 steps that because the title of the show was like, you can shoot commercial, like empowering people to do these things. And so you came up with these awesome 5 steps. So let's start to go through those so people who are out there can take notes.
For sure.
And say, hey, here's how I'm going to do it, because I mean, shooting commercials sounds like a gaggle of fun, which I think is a thing. That's a saying.
Yeah.
That's a saying.
Yeah. I think with all the stuff that you've shared, it sounds like it can be really fun, because you get to focus on being creative and being the photographer and work with a team of people. So take us through this list. Number 1, Kelsey.
So
Well, number 1, first of all,
uno.
like a lot of wedding photographers and portrait photographers, they feel a little bit intimidated about approaching commercial clients, and they feel like they don't have the right lighting skills or they don't have the right portfolio. So these steps are kind of designed in a way that will kind of make sense and make it easier for people to take the commercial thing off the pedestal and know that it's actually can be very much easier than shooting weddings and portraits. So step 1, you have to develop a good portfolio to approach small businesses and corporations and agencies with. So depending on what you want to shoot, maybe you're really into architecture. That's a really big market within commercial. Maybe you want to shoot more clothing line, fashion stuff like myself, or maybe you like products or lifestyle. That's huge. Lifestyle is big for any kind of sports company, things like that. So for me, I was lucky because I got approached by agencies before I had the notion to even consider commercial for myself. But if I wasn't approached by agencies, I would like approach companies that I'd want to work with, or stylize my own shoots, like much like a wedding style shoot, but instead of styling with local wedding vendors, you would approach local clothing shops or different brands that kind of emulated the kind of brands that you were attracted to. So essentially, you get models together, you get the clothes together, you see if you can find a local wardrobe stylist and hair and makeup stylist if you don't know any, and you can find that on Model Mayhem or just kind of asking around, going to your local salons. And usually these people, like these stylists and this team, will be eager to work with you, and they're going to want to have fun, building a portfolio. Because with commercial clients, they're going to get paid as like more money than they normally make on weddings as well. Like for example, like I pay my stylists, we do some shoots for fun on the side, but then when we're working, I bring them on as my team, and they make anywhere from like $120 to $400 per model to make them up.
Nice. Well,
so once you get like you just get a solid portfolio together, something that you believe showcases your commercial abilities. And lighting is really important. More than the only thing that's kind of more difficult in terms of shooting commercial compared to weddings is the lighting. You definitely have to learn a little bit more about lighting and be able to control that as much as you can, because in some instances it's all about the product. So you got to light the product properly. You got to make sure everything else looks great in the back. So if you're not comfortable with your lighting at this point with ambient lighting, I'd recommend brushing up on that and then trying to include more of that element into your portfolio.
Well, another thing you mentioned was tapping into your existing clients, like your even wedding or portrait clients. tapping into them and you know where they work and that kind of stuff to try and get your foot in the door.
Definitely. Well, I mean, I'm sure a lot of our listeners have dabbled in commercial a little bit through this very method, because a lot of our wedding clients and portrait clients, you know, they'll be like, oh, they did a great job on my wedding, and we need headshots from my company that I work for, or, you know, I own a small business, you know, a painting business or what have you, interior design business. I need some photos for my website rebrand. They did a great job of my family portraits. Maybe I'll call them. So I'm sure that a lot of people have already had this experience because it happens a lot. But if you're not, it also helps to put yourself out there. Just mention like, hey, if you have, you know, I noticed that you also have an interior design business. I really love working with you. You're a beautiful, good photograph on your wedding day, or I just love your family so much. I'd love to help your business in that way. I also do commercial portraits, and then see what they say.
So, and if it's interesting. I was just thinking about this. Like, if you are interested in shooting products and stuff like that, like you could be building your portfolio while you're working a wedding. You know how you shoot the perfume bottles and the shoes and the details. All of those things will really help you kind of build that portfolio. I don't know. It was just a light bulb moment.
No, definitely. I mean,
it's usually a dim light, but it's still a light.
A lot of commercial photographers, like very high-end commercial photographers, you know, I just feel like you get this like, oh, you shoot weddings, you know, like you obviously don't know how to light things properly if you're just shooting weddings. Like sometimes you get that, but I think it's the exact opposite. I mean, as a wedding photographer, you don't have a whole team there helping you direct and light things. You know, you have a time crunch to shoot these wedding rings, and yet they look like they could be a great advertisement for that ring. So wedding photography actually composes a lot of commercial photography elements just with a time crunch. So if you're really good, if you feel comfortable shooting weddings, then there's no reason why you can't apply those same skills to a commercial shoot, especially with products and things like that.
Yeah, and well, you have the time. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Kelsey.
I was gonna say, and if you don't have a studio to shoot these commercial products in, you can easily make a home studio. Like for me, like I have a studio, but back when I didn't have a studio, I was just either renting a studio from local rental places, and they're not even that expensive, and you can bill that to the commercial client. And if, let's say, your shoot for the commercial client is going to last 3 hours, you book it for 4 hours, because you're in there anyway with the lighting setup. Or if the shoot ends early, right, then you could just like pay the surplus or whatever and like use that hour to bring in some of your own products and shoot that. Or you just get a piece of white poster board and tape it to your wall and just let it cove down on your like kitchen table, you know, add a light on that and you're good. I mean, that looks like a commercial studio if you have a small product.
Good
That's
tip.
very cool.
Hashtag
That's
pro
it,
tip.
yeah,
Or
very good.
Octothorpe. Sorry, Octothorpe pro tip. Well, and then the other thing you were saying, or we were talking about, and the other tips, was introducing yourself to local ad agencies. Tell us about that process, because that to me seems like I'm a pretty outgoing guy, and that to me even seems like, oh man, I don't know.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, working with agencies is really beneficial because you can definitely, I mean, you could go directly to the corporate clients or directly to small businesses and just bring your new portfolio to these guys and say, this is what I shoot, this is how I can help you. But when you're working with agencies, they do so much for you. Like number one, you don't have to worry about marketing as much because they're going to get to know your style and they're just going to pretty much recommend you to all their clients that they think that you're going to be beneficial for, like a good fit. So you don't have to worry about marketing as much, number one. Number two, people who book agencies have a budget for photography usually, because their agencies are not cheap to work with. They charge a lot of money for their websites and for good reason. But so then you don't have to pre-qualify those clients either because they already know, you know, that they're expected to make an investment overall, including the photography. And number three, you don't like the agencies bring those clients back to you over and over and over again. So they're going to be return clients. And that way, again, you don't have to worry about marketing or the education. And the agency also, this is a really big one for me when I first started, they edit the images for you. So they have their own editors on staff usually. So when you're done shooting, you just send them the gallery or, you know, your past gallery or your USB or whatever, and it's done.
Drops the camera, walks away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they don't always take a cut. So sometimes they'll just allow you to invoice the client directly.
Oh.
So there's absolutely no downside of working with an agency.
Okay.
So the thing is, how do you get working with an agency, right?
Right.
For me, I was lucky because they approached me. But if you, if you're not putting yourself out there as much, they might not notice you. So you got to take that your own initiative. So there's different ways you can do it. I mean, there's obviously the ways where you could call them or email them. But for me, I would recommend doing something a little more creative. Like as a creative professional, we've got all these skills at our disposal. We should be showcasing that and showing them how creative minded we are. They're really going to appreciate that. I saw this one photographer online like years ago. I forget his name. I wish I could find it. I was trying to Google it last night. But this guy, what he did was he made customized boxes, like really sexy boxes with his like photography logo around it. And inside he had like a mini can of Coke and like some coasters and a chocolate bar and like a postcard saying that like you can pick a t-shirt, whatever t-shirt you want, you just mail this back and you pick a t-shirt and it's got this guy's logo on it. And on top it has his little portfolio of images that he had. And the top note said like, hey, I'm so-and-so. In this box are a few things that I really enjoy. Let's get to know each other. Here's my work. I'd love to work with your agency. And by the way, have a free t-shirt. Just mail this postcard in. So, and it was really cool video. And it cost him $10,000 to do that promotion, which is a lot of money and, you know, definitely out of my league and maybe many of us who are watching. But he ended up getting plenty of gigs out of that paid for itself in no time because, you know, he was getting gigs with these like top agencies because they were just blown away by the creativity and the introduction there. So on a smaller scale, if you want to make a similar impression, what I was thinking is I'm going to want to start looking into like maybe Vancouver agencies or agencies, you know, in Montreal or Toronto. So I'm thinking like, how do I introduce myself that way while being creative? So I was thinking, I was Googling and I stumbled across these things called Springs, SPREENGS. And what it is it's a video greeting card. So it has like a built-in LCD within this freaking card and it holds up to like 5 megabytes or something. So I'm like, how cool is that? Like, not only would that be great for a wedding thing, for like father with like the wedding video right in the card as like an add-on, the things cost $40 and you can just like reload whatever you want into this little video card. So I was like, that could be cool. I can make my own little promo video of just like work that I've done for commercial clients behind the scenes, write a little note, and then like, you know, ship it off to these agencies and say like, hey, this is who I am. Let me know if you want to talk. And then, you know, just follow up with them later and see what happens.
That's fantastic. And
yeah, what a cool idea.
That's a really cool idea. Another idea, just throwing this out there, it used to be done, I think, a lot more frequently, maybe bring it back, hashtag bring it back, was singing telegrams, except you also incorporate your photos. While they're singing, they could like show your photos. And I think
maybe he's got like an iPad and he's just like playing it like a guitar.
Yeah. I think it could be huge.
It could be good.
Yeah, singing telegrams are making a comeback.
Are they?
Oh, they're all over the place.
This is news to me, but that's very exciting. Good. Just in time for Mother's Day.
They could be ready, Carrie.
You could be on something.
Be ready. Singing telegrams. I don't know if they work on Sundays though. Mother's Day.
I don't know if they do. Speaking of days of the week, do you tend to shoot commercial like Monday through Friday, Kelsey, as opposed to weekends?
I'm happy you brought this up because this is a huge bonus. Like as a wedding photographer, I'm sure we could all relate to having to work, you know, many weekends during the summertime when you want to be maybe doing other things. You know, after a while, it's a little bit exhausting, even though we love it so much. So the great thing about commercial is that it's during the week because you're working with this whole team and the agency works during the week, the clients work during the week. So it's always a weekday thing unless it has to happen on a weekend. But yeah, so it's like during the week stuff and you have your weekends free. It's amazing.
That's really cool. I like as a mom, you know, that would be great if I could just sort of be working Monday through Friday. And
especially during the off season.
Yeah. I think it's or when it's really hot here in Arizona, like in the summer, it'd be great to be in a studio.
Yeah. You said summer. I was like, we don't shoot in the summer here.
No, we hibernate.
Yeah, if we go out of state.
In air conditioning.
Yeah.
Or out of state.
Yeah.
I've never been to Phoenix before, but have you guys seen that Arrested Development episode where Michael gets transferred to Phoenix and he like reaches out and touches the door handle and it burns his skin and he walks back into the airport? It's hilarious.
Yeah. Now that's for real. That happens.
Yeah, we have restaurants and stuff, like places that you constantly go in. You know, they have their nice metal like handles and everything that you go into. They put pads over them during the summer. Like
they wrap them because they stay out in the heat. And moms, there's these things called cool seats that you can put ice bags. You know, the little like ice things that you would normally put in a cooler.
Okay.
You actually put them into this seat thing, and then when you take your kid out of the car, you put it in their car seat. And then when you get back in the car, like hopefully the metal and things will not burn them because it's been like next to the ice pack.
Wow.
What lesson
No
does
joke.
what lesson does that teach your kids though? No, the burning teaches a lesson. The hot sensation, the total uncomfortableness, that builds character.
But speaking of you never coming to Phoenix, we're gonna fix that problem, aren't we?
Actually, I'm going to United.
Yay!
All my friends were like, you have to come to United. You have to come to United. So
Yeah.
And it's in October, so it won't be hot like that, but we'll be having pool parties.
nice. Well, I'm not surprised now that your dog swims in your pool if it's that hot.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, she loves it. She
Yeah.
absolutely loves it. And the kids do too. And I actually jumped in. It was really cold. I jumped in this weekend, and it was wonderful. But it was so cold. In the pool, I got outside and I was like, "This is no
It's
longer
like
cold."
you were doing the polar
But
bear
in
challenge.
the pool, very similar. But if they could do it, like they were calling me out, to be quite honest. Like
Right.
the kids were like, "Dad, you have to jump in the pool." They're like, "Well, is it too cold for you?" And I was like, "No, I am Dad. I can handle everything." It was so cold.
I like it.
So cold.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
There were a couple of other things that were on this list that you had shared with us, Kelsey, and or maybe there was just one other thing.
I think we hit them all.
There was something about commercial contracts and stock photography,
Oh,
because
yeah.
I think when people think commercial photography, they start thinking like Getty Images, stock photography. How does all that work?
Well, the thing with commercial photography is that the only downside really is that sometimes it's not always creative, right? It tends to feel very stocky on some projects. But the good thing about the way our culture is transforming in media is that stock photography isn't the standard, like, corporate guy doing handshakes, that kind of thing. Now it's transforming a little bit into more of like a hipster genre, which is awesome. It's amazing. So luckily for us, we can bring our creativity more and more to the commercial playing field because that's what they're looking for. So that brings me to the stock photography itself. Let's say you are a stay-at-home mom and the wedding thing is a little bit time-consuming and exhausting. You want to get more into commercial, but maybe you're still building your portfolio and there's not a ton of local ad agencies where you are. Stock photography is an amazing opportunity online to sell your images for penny stock. Now, penny stock has a bit of a negative connotation to some people because you're only getting like $1 or what have you per hit where an agency or a client will buy your photo. But the thing is, it can recycle it and be used over and over and over again. So you could be making, like, I used to work at a photo studio in high school, and my boss was making like $600 to $1,000 a month in stock photography. It's funny because I was modeling for him part-time as a stock model, just like, holding up a cell phone and, being like a cheeky teenager. And I still see my 16-year-old self being published in weird places, which is kind of strange, but, whatever. It's kind of fun too. I'm on the cover of a book, actually, really randomly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, really weird. So for stock photography, it's just a great way, like I said, set up like a tabletop studio, with a piece of poster board, get that coving down your kitchen table, light that up, and, shoot like a hand going in to get some chocolate off of like a mousetrap or something. And around Valentine's Day, that's going to sell a lot.
Yeah.
And just look at what's trending in stock photography, and you can be creative. And a lot of your shoots that you're shooting now, like lifestyle stuff, like of small families, or even some like wedding takes, as long as your subjects and the images sign model releases for you, as long as you see their face, you need a model release. If they're okay with selling their picture online for iStock or stock photo or Getty or Shutterstock or Stocksy or whatever, then
there's a couple options.
Yeah, exactly. So you can actually use the photos you're already taking for stock because it's not making any additional money for you sitting on your hard drive.
Right.
So as long as you get the model release, you might as well get that to generate some passive income for you.
Sure.
And if you stay on that and you keyword it and it gets popular, you can be making, a ton of money in passive income every month.
That's really cool.
So something you mentioned you were on a book cover.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I actually lost out to Fabio on a book cover. It was there was a shipwreck in the background, the open shirt. They were going for a little less hair. They chose wisely, but I was this close.
Really close. Well, speaking of images,
and
now
and
that we have
mistakes.
that image in our mind,
and mistakes, because it would have been a mistake.
Yeah.
You have some fun. You shared with us some really good images, and a couple of them you learned lessons that would help help some of us out there when we get into some of them. So let's go over lesson number 1.
Sure.
The image of the bus. Tell us about this.
Okay, well, this is a photo that I took very early in my career.
Mhm.
This is shortly after I first got approached by an ad agency, and they said, "Hey, the downtown, downtown city of Victoria wants to hire you and us to photograph a couple out dancing on the town to promote like date nights in Victoria."
Mhm.
I was like, "Oh, this sounds like a fun project because this is so much like what I shoot already with my engagement and wedding sessions, right?"
Yeah.
So I was excited about this job, but before I could do the job, I had 30 grand of photography gear stolen from out of my car, which is so sad. I didn't have any insurance on it, so I lost a ton of money, and that was the day before destination wedding. So that was a big lesson. Number one, get insurance, get yourself insured.
Right.
But number two, the next day I bought a Canon 5D Mark II, which I had never really used before because I used to be a Nikon girl at that point. I'm Nikon again now, but so I had this Canon. So I show up to do the shoot, and somehow I got the Canon I put it on RAW, right? And you think RAW is RAW, right? It's like big files. But there's a thing in the Canon 5D Mark II that's like small RAW, which ends up being smaller than like an iPhone photo. So we're shooting this shoot. Everything's going great. I'm showing the art director on the back of my camera, what we've got going on, and they're loving it. So then we okay it. And then we break for about an hour before our next shoot's going to happen. It's like a two shoot thing. Mm-hmm. Then I get home and I load the photos on my Lightroom and I zoom in and it's like so pixelated. And I know this is supposed to go on a bus. So I'm like, starting to hyperventilate a little bit.
So the bus was larger than your screen.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm getting nervous for you.
So then what do you do, right? I didn't want to tell the art director my mistake at that point because we're still having another shoot together in an hour. Mm-hmm. And the nature of the way I make mistakes is I never feel like I should say anything until I know how to fix it, like until I have a solution. Yeah. So what I did is I called the models right away again, and I called my hairstylist because she'd already taken her hair and makeup out. And I was like, "Hey guys, this is what happened. I made a big mistake. Do you mind if we do a quick reshoot after this other shoot? And I'll make it up to you. Like I'll give you a free shoot." And my stylist and we're good friends. Do me a favor. So then right after this other shoot that I photographed, which I had to pretend like nothing was wrong, like I photographed this other thing with art director.
All is well for this shoot.
I know. So then I photographed. So I did a quick reshoot that night, and everything went well. So the next morning I show up at the agency because I'm supposed to deliver the files, and I was sitting in the boardroom. And I couldn't even sleep that night. I just felt like I just wallowed in my filth. You know that feeling? Yeah. So I showed up there and I said, "Hey guys, so this is what happened, and it's not usable, but I did this reshoot. I'm not going to charge you for this portion of the shoot. Like, I'm really sorry. This is what I have. Like, what do you think?" So luckily, they wanted to do that shoot in the evening anyway for like a date night out. Yeah. So the client actually loved the photograph, and everyone walked out of there happy. But I just still felt like a failure, Yeah. So that's another lesson. Like, always make sure that you're on the right setting.
Yeah.
That's important.
You ever heard that? Fail forward? That's how I feel when I make those mistakes, because you just got to do it. It has to happen.
Did you say fail forward?
Fail forward.
Oh.
Move forward from the
that.
failure.
It makes us keep moving forward with failing. I like it.
Totally. Well, we've got a couple of other photos. There was a picture, looked like of a bunch of kids getting on a boat. Is that right? Or on a water plane?
A boat plane?
A boat plane? What do you call that?
It's a boat plane.
Yeah, we don't have those. We don't have those here. We don't have enough water to necessitate flying and being on water.
That's funny. Well, being on an island, this is Harbor Air. It's a local company. It's actually the world's largest sea-to-air airplane airline. So they're one of my big clients, and they come back to me every year. So this is just an example of like a lifestyle commercial shoot that I produced as well. So this is in Vancouver here. So I needed to source. So sometimes with working with an agency, they will source all of the models and everybody for you. Other times they're going to want you to source everything. Okay. So for me, because I'm really good at getting everybody together and styling a shoot, they've got to the point now where they've kind of outsourced all the directing and producing to me, which is good in a way. A little bit extra stress, but I don't mind it. It's kind of fun. I just do and I charge like a producer fee, so extra money for me to be made there. And then once I get the regular models to come back, I spend less time sourcing because I kind of know who's good for the job. Mm-hmm. Okay. And by models, I mean like random people more often than not. Like I have a lot of attractive friends, so I mean they're just great. So I just use them for all my shoots, and I pay them $50 an hour, and they love that because it's great for them. I mean, and they love being like seen around the city and in magazines and things like that. And I tell my agencies and my clients too. It's like, yeah, these are my friends. They model for me as well. They're really good. I know how to work with them. They're amazing. They're, you know, if you want real people, sometimes it's best to use real people.
Yeah.
So with that particular Harbor Air shoot, I needed to source like a family, some hair and makeup people. So I just did a shout out on my Facebook group, and I said, hey guys, this is what I'm looking for. Between these ages, like, you know, mixed ethnicity would be a bonus. You know, message me if you're interested. And then normally I'll get people messaging me with photos, and I have like a pool of people to choose from, which is great. So, and then if you go back to that image, you can see that the lighting is a little bit supplementary. So with this, like I said before, with commercial, flash photography is really important because you want it to look stylized and you want it to have that little bit of a pop. So this is just me shooting. I think I'm actually like off this dock here, like on a floating dock with a bit of a longer lens. And then I have a big light shining that way on them just to make them pop a little bit and fill in those shadows.
Okay.
And this is not like a final edited image. I think what they did after is they went through, like the agency edited it afterwards. They went through and like put in a blue sky because it's never a blue sky in Vancouver. So, I mean, it is, but it's just so rainy, right? So it's hard to get like a beautiful blue sky. So they'll just drop that in after. Right. So that's a very like kind of stocky commercially photo. Just an example of like how commercially and stocky it can get. So it's not really super creative, but it's still kind of fun to set up and work with and see what you can get.
That's awesome. Well, and something that you've mentioned multiple times is that you can do these, like the stereotype of a commercial shoot maybe sounds a little monotonous or anything, but you're talking about how they can be fun. And so you have this third image that we're going to pull up here, and it's an example. You were saying this is an example of how these can be really fun. So go through this one for us.
For sure. Well, like I said, most commercial shoots aren't that creative. You know, very much like the Harbor Air shot. It's very like, you know, show the family, show the intention of what we want to convey here. But then because I work with a lot of fashion forward clients, like the local malls, this is something I shot for a local mall. So on the top of the mall, it's got these really cool like spires made of copper, but they're kind of, or whatever they are, but it's green. It looks amazing. So we're like, so the marketing director, and we've got to know each other over the years, and she's like, Kels, like we should shoot our next campaign on the freaking roof. And I'm like, yeah, we should. So we head up there with all our team members. And I wish I showed you the behind the scenes photo of this, but she, right where I cropped it on that ledge there, the marketing director is actually standing up on the roof with them, like holding out like an umbrella from her hip with a light facing towards them. And it's just so crazy windy up there. Like these models are super brave because it's like pretty high up. So this was just, this is just an example of, you know, that you can get paid like a commercial rate for like really fun shoots like this. And it's great because like for this shoot, you know, the client, the mall organized the models, and the hair and makeup people, they just use my regular team. So I was just able to walk onto that shoot and like have no, you know, I didn't even do anything to like make it happen. It was awesome. So I just walk on the shoot the stuff, really fun, good time, and then you get paid like $1,000.
Nice.
That's very
Not
cool.
bad.
No.
Well, and then this final image you were showing us, it's funny, when we were talking yesterday, you mentioned how like you'd go through, one of your teachers or something would go through like a Sears catalog and be like, this is, you know, how these pots and pans are lit and blah, blah, blah. And so you were talking about like product placement and all of that. And so the fourth image here really kind of goes into that.
Yeah, so like Phil was saying, when I was in photography school, my commercial photography instructor, he would pull up a photo of like pots and pans in a Sears catalog and be like, oh, I just love the gleam of this light on this. Like, it's so hard to get this reflection. And I was like, oh yeah, commercial's not for me. Definitely not.
But look at the pots and pans, Kelsey.
I know. So that's why I was like, yeah, I'm really gonna do commercial. But then stuff like this comes up. This is a local company called Rumble. And this is another thing why I love shooting commercials so much, is because oftentimes I'm shooting with brand new local companies, you know, that are run by people like my age or younger sometimes, and you know, they're just so excited to get their product on the market, and you know, you're collaborating with them on how best to share their message and their product, and they're getting excited, and you're kind of feeding off that energy as well. And then it's just so great to like give them these images, and then they get it all put together on their new website, and they just feel like all their hard work is like come to fruition. So it's really cool to be part of that. But with products these days, like that shot that I was just showing, most of it is a lot of product placement. So it's not so much shooting products in the studio, which can be a little bit boring for some of us who prefer like more of a hands-on approach with humans involved. But they do a lot of lifestyle stuff. So, you know, for there, that was like with the energy drink, I had it like hanging out of his backpack, or we've done stuff with them where it's like on top of a surfboard. But again, you always want to light the product. So I usually bring in a reflector there, you know, if there's some nice ambient light or like a nice light or something, or a flash. But yeah, it's just picture your own wedding photos already, but you know, without the wedding garb and maybe a product in the foreground or background, or maybe they're holding it. Now all of a sudden it's a commercial shoot that you can sell.
Yeah. Nice.
That's awesome. And it looks like you get to go out and see some fun places, and you're not always, you know, like you said, just in a studio. This is actually getting out. Looks like you're outdoors and probably having a great time.
Yeah.
If you like being outdoors, I suppose.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, the island here is amazing. We have the world's largest deciduous rainforest, so it's any West Coast company is going to want to showcase, you know, the roots in that way. So that's really fun for us.
That's nice. We have a beautiful desert, but we don't have a rainforest.
I would
We
love to
have
shoot
a
it.
ton of cactus.
Yeah.
So when you come to Arizona for United, you can come and shoot some cacti.
No, and desert shoots are legit.
Oh,
they're
yeah.
they're absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
But it's a slightly different.
It's a different beauty.
It's a different feel. Definitely, all the feels are a lot different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have to be careful you don't bump into anything. I had a shoot last night and came like this close to like running right into a cactus.
Yeah, you should hug cactuses. They need hugs.
No, they don't need
They're
hugs.
people
amazing.
too.
That is
Yeah.
like, that's such a Arizona photographer problem.
It really is.
Too long for a hashtag?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is. Like, how can you injure yourself on a shoot quickly in Arizona? Walk into a cactus.
Don't wear boots. That's
Don't-
another
yeah.
one. You should
Oh.
definitely wear boots.
Yeah.
Nice.
Pack your boots for United. Well, Kelsey, thank you so much for joining us. This was awesome.
Yeah.
We had so many people online watching today, and they seem like they're really interested and excited about maybe starting a commercial as
Oh.
part of their photography business.
For sure.
Sure. Do you want to talk a little bit about how to price it? Because I know that.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
yes. Did we miss that?
Yeah, that's one of the things that we wanted to talk about. You were kind enough to share with us a contract as well, which we'll link out at the bottom after the show. But yeah,
Down underneath.
let's talk that money, that cash money stuff.
Cash money. So yeah, I mean, the business side of things definitely, you know, needs to be taken care of with the contracts. You got to protect yourself.
Mhm.
So
Before
I've
you
offered,
wreck
like I
yourself.
said, my contract that I've customized myself. So anybody are welcome to have that and, you know, put in your own business name probably and do all that stuff. So in the contract, you'll notice that it says, you know, in one of the line items, it says we need to identify exactly what we're going for in this shoot.
Mhm.
Because with commercial clients, it's really, they know what they want, and it's really important to get that in writing, either directly on the contract or in an email.
Okay.
So if I was shooting that Rumble energy drink campaign, they'd be like, we want a shot of, you know, Rumble being featured and on a hiking thing in a backpack, like be as specific as possible so that the art director and everyone's on the same page. Because if there's any problems in commercial, it's that it comes down to like, oh, well, we didn't get the shot that we wanted. So it's important to like do as much direction and like pre-planning as possible.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I like to include that in the contract to say, these are the shots that we've agreed on being mandatory. I mean, obviously we're going to get other shots, but as long as we know what the shots are that we have to get in the bag first, that's really important.
Okay.
And then also with commercial, it's a little bit different in terms of payment because instead of just one client you're dealing with potentially a whole company and all the bureaucracy that comes with that and all the time delay. So you usually will do the job first without getting any money, and then you'll wait like 30 to 60 days before you see a paycheck from that.
Okay.
So sometimes, depending on how you want to run your business, like you can either pay all your models and all your stylists up front if you're the producer of the shoot as well. So you're kind of out of pocket, potentially $400, $500 initially, and then you pay them, and then you get reimbursed for all of that when you get paid. Or you can tell your makeup, hair, and models and stuff like, hey guys, like we're gonna get paid in 60 days, and then they're cool with that. So in my contract, I say 30 days, but sometimes it takes 60 days.
Okay.
So I'm okay with that because I've tried before to kind of put a clause in there to like penalize them if they don't get me the check within, 60 days.
Yeah.
It doesn't really fly that well because, they're just not used, and it's just not really their fault. It's just a big machine that they're working within.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you put 30 days on your contract, chances are you'll get it between 30 and 60 days. So I would start at 30
Yeah.
and then expect to get it within 2 months.
Okay.
So that's not bad. And it's nice to get like a big fat check,
Yeah.
2 months you do the shoot and you're like, oh yeah,
It's
damn.
like when clients pay their deposits now. You
Yeah.
get like a deposit check in the mail, and you're like,
Right.
oh.
It's great. And if that's the standard, then the models and the hair and makeup are all very comfortable with working within those parameters.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. And in terms of pricing, it totally depends on what your client is and where you live and how experienced you are and all that stuff. But generally, it's priced in half days.
Mhm.
So a half day could be 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. For me, my half day is 3 hours.
Okay.
So, and I charge $200 an hour to shoot it.
Okay.
And then that doesn't include any of the images. They pay $400 additionally for all of the rights. You say you rights and usage and purchase of all the images.
Okay.
So that ends up being, my average is about $1,000 for 3 hours of work. And that doesn't include editing, of course. And if I don't have an editor, I charge about $75 an hour to edit the images. And sometimes I even outsource that so that it doesn't cost, it doesn't cost me any more of my time,
Okay.
which is helpful. But some people will do like, they'll just say like, well, what's your budget? Or if they're working with like really high-end companies, they'll automatically say like, oh, our budget's like, $8,000. What can you do? What can you offer us within that? We're looking for this and this and that.
Yeah.
So for me, because I'm a very small community on this island here, so I just say, this is my rate. An average client spends about $1,000 with me for all the files. If you need extra time, it's like $150 an hour on top of that. So sometimes, the shoot will, if it's more than 3 hours, if it's like an 8-hour day, I'll be making, over $2,000.
Nice.
And that's just kind of how I'm pricing it right now. But it's an ever-evolving organic thing. So
Oh, for sure. As is all pricing.
Right.
Pricing changes by the hour.
for sure. Well, is there any other questions you guys had? I feel like we covered a lot of cool stuff here.
I think you covered so many amazing things, and I think questions may pop up afterwards. So in the Facebook group, if you're in the Show Tiers Facebook group, feel free to jump in and ask any other questions, and all that information. The contract that Kelsey was so gracious to give us is going to be down below on showatier.com/live. You can find it all.
Well,
there.
it'll be on right underneath
right
this,
underneath
right
where
underneath
you're
this
watching.
show.
Yeah.
We'll paste it down there, as well as all the places you can go and like Kelsey and follow Kelsey and internet stalk Kelsey, that kind of
Internet stalker.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, you are a fantastic photographer, and we are so grateful that you were willing to share so much information today. Thanks, Kelsey.
Yeah, thank you
Thanks for
so
having
much.
me. This is great. I'm extra excited now for United.
Yay!
I was about to say, like, I can't wait to see you again at United. So yeah, can't get here soon enough. Thank you so much for all you've done. And we actually have a picture of what United will look like when you're here. This is, I mean,
There's the pool.
it'll be so fantastic. So yeah, pool party.
That looks amazing.
Pool party is an amazing, fun party on Monday night that we're going to be releasing some more information about soon. And we've got more information coming about the schedule and style shoots and all sorts of fun things. There are still some tickets available, so you can run over and grab those and stay with us at the Fire Sky Resort, which is where we're hosting United, and it's just going to be a fantastic time together.
It's amazing. Yeah. So go to showunited.com to get more information, all that fun stuff.
Yeah,
But,
absolutely. And to come meet Kelsey and give her a hug in person.
right? That's
I love
right.
hugs. I'm a hug person.
We all love hugs here, right?
Seriously, love hugs.
Completely. And if you, for some reason, missed the beginning of the show today, we had Jamie Delane on, and we have a giveaway going with the school session.
Yeah.
So head on over on Instagram to @theschoolsessions, and you'll want to go on and comment the picture of the locket that we are giving away and tag a couple of friends, and someone will be chosen tomorrow at noon Pacific time to win 3 lockets, one for you and one for each of your friends.
Yeah, and their friends won one too,
Yeah,
which is awesome.
really cool.
Yep. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. We will see you again next week, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thanks again, Kelsey. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Have a great week.